Full Melt Show is intended for a mature audience. It contains adult themes, adult content, and sometimes adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
It's the Full Melt
There is
Show.
a federal inspection station on Interstate 10 near the Mexican border in West Texas that has earned itself the nickname Checkpoint of the Stars because of all the entertainers who've been busted there. In the past 6 years, Willie Nelson, Snoop Dogg Nelly, and Fiona Apple have all been arrested for marijuana possession. As NPR's John Burnett reports, local law enforcement is now balking at the cost of handling all these busts.
The Sierra Blanca Border Patrol checkpoint was the bane of pot smokers driving from Los Angeles to Texas. Green-suited federal agents and their uncanny drug dogs would make 20 to 30 busts a day. 2 years ago, Austin writer and filmmaker Al Reinert was on that highway.
I had two little buds wrapped up in my DOP kit in my suitcase in the trunk of the car. I mean, the Border Patrol guys never would have found it if the dogs hadn't sniffed it out.
Here's how it used to work. The Border Patrol would hold the suspect and the stash. The sheriff in the sleepy town of Sierra Blanca would send a deputy out to pick them up. Then they'd be booked into the county jail. Most of the cannabis holders were issued a citation, released, and told to pay a $400 fine later, though many never paid up. But for the past year, Hudspeth County Sheriff Arvin West has refused to take any more checkpoint cases, even those involving commercial quantities of marijuana worth thousands of dollars.
I don't have a problem whatsoever going out there and arresting them. I just have a problem making my local taxpayers foot the bill for America's problem. I'm not going to do the federal government's job.
West is a stout, swaggering lawman who has a sign over his office door that reads Boss Hog. He's the warlord out here in Hudspeth County, an area larger than Connecticut, filled with greasewood, cactus, humpbacked mountains, and only 5,000 people. The checkpoint dispute is not about justice, it's about money. The sheriff says there were so many checkpoint cases, they occupied 2 of his full-time deputies and a 4th of his jail space, which was okay as long as he was getting federal criminal justice grants, but those have dried up.
When I occupy one of those beds, it takes away from a paying customer back there.
His jail is a moneymaker. Like a lot of poor Texas counties, Hudspeth built an oversized jail so it can rent out excess space to other counties at $45 a night per prisoner. The fact that West won't accept any checkpoint cases because he wants somebody to pay him for his prisoners rubs some people the wrong way.
What I wonder is, why is it possible to arrest Willie Nelson and not anybody else?
Jaime Esparza is the district attorney for El Paso and 2 neighboring counties.
Making sure your community is safe and prosecuting crime is not a profit-making business. It never has been.
Sheriff West blames the feds for not prosecuting the marijuana cases themselves. But the Department of Justice is less and less interested in low-level possession cases. West says the DEA only gets involved when the amount is more than 40 or 50 pounds of marijuana. Will Glaspie, special agent in charge of the El Paso DEA, says if he decides to take a case, they have to send agents 85 miles to Sierra Blanca to pick up the suspects and the dope.
When we're trying to be smarter with federal resources, both from a law enforcement standpoint and a judicial standpoint, many of these cases just don't belong in federal court.
What this does is create a crazy disparity in prosecution. When a person is busted for 35 pounds of marijuana, say in downtown Sierra Blanca, such as it is, he faces a second-degree felony and prison time. But when a person gets caught with the same size load at this federal checkpoint, he walks, unless there are aggravating circumstances, such as a weapon involved. The Border Patrol does not release numbers on individuals who have their narcotics confiscated and are not arrested. Hudspeth County is not alone. There's a Border Patrol inspection station in Brooks County, Texas, that catches lots of narcotics coming out of the Rio Grande Valley. Brooks has such a tiny budget that it, too, refuses checkpoint cases. Chris Cabrera, a Border Patrol union representative in the Rio Grande Valley, says traffickers caught with dozens of pounds of pot are routinely released, and they learn to exploit this loophole.
That's a shame when drug smugglers can walk free. Yeah, granted, they lose their load, but they're able to make it up the next day or the day after and find a different route, and they adapt to our inability to do our job.
Meanwhile, back at the Hudspeth County Jail, it's just not as exciting now that the tour buses are gone and there are no more famous mugshots.
Roll me up and smoke me when I die. And if anyone don't like it, just look 'em in the eye.
John Burnett, NPR News, Sierra Blanca, Texas.
Are you high? What are you talking about?
It's the full melt.
The Full Melt Show. A marijuana discussion about news, culture, politics, and lifestyle. FullMelt.com. Toll free. 844-420-TALK. 844-420-TALK.
And Bustin' Seams at the PetPain.com studios, broadcasting live. Once again, it is the Full Melt Show. Oh, man, I've been busting to get back on the air. Delays. Things get in my way. It makes me mad. I cannot stand not doing a show. I just can't stand not doing it. The news passes me by, and I feel like I've neglected you. Let me just say that it's been an absolute quandary in trying to maneuver through the obstacles and hoops and trying to get updated with that stupid new iPhone. Oh, I just want to kick it. Absolute worst experience ever in ordering an iPhone. I'm not even going to go into the details because it's boring and it's long and but I'll tell you what. I'm making noise there. I shouldn't be touching that. I tell you what, though, this business with, I use my iPhone a lot. I use it a ton for this show. I use it for research. I use it for looking up articles. I use it for, guesting. I make notes, and I use those on the air. There's all kinds of stuff that I use my iPhone for. And I was planning on, at this point in time, having the new iPhone 6S Plus in the 128-gigabyte model in the rose gold, which I think is really just a fancy way of saying pink. But none of that happened. I didn't end up with the rose gold phone. I didn't end up with the 128-gigabyte model phone, which I need all that memory for the stuff that I do. I ended up with a 64-gigabyte model phone that was crashing on me. Like I said, I just want to kick it. But this isn't even the story. I'm just telling you what's getting in the way here. I got that other phone. Spare the story of how it came because, oh, my God, it's an epic drama behind all of that. And when I say epic, I'm understating it. Worst experience in 48 years, I'm telling you. Just trust me. Now, what happened today was I decided that in order to fix this problem, I was going to have to send that frickin' iPhone back because I was still inside the stupid 14-day window to return it without, any issues. It's like the, like the 30-day money-back guarantee kind of thing. This is 14 days. You got 2 weeks. You can take it back and exchange it, get a new one, do whatever. Get your money back if you want, I suppose. I opted to order the proper phone, but see, now it's going to take, and I'm telling you, I got in line at midnight the day that these things pre-ordered. I should have had the thing in my hand. They screwed it all up. Anyways, so in the broader interest of things, I had to go to the store today, back to the iPhone store, or back to the Verizon store and return the phone, and they offered me a loaner while I'm waiting for the new phone that I ordered just today to come, which is supposed to ship I'm going to swallow hard here. November 2. And the problem that I encountered was the quote-unquote loaner phone that Verizon gave me is about a step lower than the phone that I turned in that's already 2+ years old. Traded in for this one, for the new one that I'm supposed to be getting. So I have a crappier phone than the one I started out with, and I got to be married to it for like a month. Oh, I just want to... Does anybody got a noose? Because I could sure make handy use of it. Okay, necky use of it. But suffice it to say that normally we are on the air from 7 until 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. See, we didn't do a show Friday. We didn't do a show Monday because of these technical things. Almost couldn't do a show today, but I managed to get this thing after much trial and tribulation. Because I counted to a story. I'm going to talk to you about notes. I can't do anything show-related without that stupid phone. And this thing has the same stupid 16 gigabytes of memory the old phone had on it. So trying to maneuver around or edit anything this has 0 photos on it. It's full. It has 0 audio on it. It's full. It has 0 emails in it. It's full. I deleted a bunch of apps. It's still full. I think there's one app, like the critical app, that's still trying to download. I don't know if it's still sitting there, like a bump on a frickin' log. So anyways, the big news, as I see it today, is twofold out of Ohio. Double-barrel shotgun blast of news from Ohio. Oh, I wish I had. See, if I was Stephen Colbert, to have the double-barrel shotgun blast racked right here, ready to go into the segment, but I can't do it. Can't do it. We're working into that stuff. Oh, I know how to do all this stuff. I just don't have the resources. There's no resources here. Who wants to help me get resources? Oh, we could make this show gangbusters if I had some more resources. The double-barrel shotgun blast news today. Kaboom! Okay, I did it myself. The first story, and I think the most significant story because it's hilarious. The second story is also very significant, but that's why I called it a double-barrel blast. I'll get the hilarity out of the way first, and then we'll get down to the nitty-gritty. Do we have time? I don't think so. Well, maybe we'll have to get down to the nitty-gritty. I'll reveal the nitty-gritty as we're going into commercial break, because I think we're just going to have time to explain the first barrel of this shotgun. According to U.S. News and World Report, this came out yesterday, so I missed this yesterday. I'm so pissed. No, this is today. Police in Youngstown, Dateline Youngstown, say they're called to a house by a man complaining that he'd gotten too high smoking marijuana. Youngstown Vindicator reports that Austin Township Police on Friday found the 22-year-old man curled in a fetal position on the floor, groaning and surrounded by snacks that included Doritos, Goldfish crackers, and Chips Ahoy cookies. Oh, he overate. He overdosed on food. Call an ambulance. Get out an enema. Do something. The newspaper reports that the man told officers he couldn't feel his hands because he had them in a bag of chips. Officers found a glass jar of marijuana and paraphernalia in the man's car after he gave them his keys. Oh, why'd you give him your keys? Really? You're too busy wrapped up in the goodies. The man refused medical treatment and so far has not been charged with a crime. So that's the first barrel of the double barrel blast. The second barrel is today Ohio sues Toledo over marijuana decriminalization. That's right. We don't like the idea that you took jail and money away from the cops in dealing with small-level marijuana possessions. The lies are next.
You're getting the full melt.
Got something to hide? Canalock offers discreet and effective storage solutions that destroy odor, so nobody knows. Canalock is a patented charcoal-activated bag that discreetly stores your marijuana. Canalock is made from the same material as military chemical warfare suits. Get yours at Canalock.com. Visit Canalock.com to learn more about no-smell technology.
Hey, it's Steve Green for the Sweet Leaf in Flint, because now getting safe access to medical cannabis patients in Flint, Michigan is never more welcoming. Presenting the Sweet Leaf, a brand new patient experience bringing 12 carefully selected caregivers housed in 9 separate offices to distinctly assist you with their knowledge and reputation for excellent patient care. Classes and training coming soon in the large community room. Check it out in person, 400 South Door Highway, or call 810-259-2571. The Sweet Leaf Center in Flint, 810-259-2571. Introducing Sacred Elements, a place for natural and alternative healing for the mind, body, and soul. Sacred Elements. It's one place, all solutions.
Registered, licensed, certified, ordained.
Sacred Elements.
Massage, hypnosis, Reiki.
Sacred Elements.
Raindrop, aroma and color therapy, body detox, ministry, life coaching, weight and nutrition counseling.
Sacred Elements. Next to the Sweet Leaf, 400 South Door Highway, Flint.
11 to 7 daily, closed Sunday.
Call 810-259-2570.
Young students are our future. They're eager to learn, eager to succeed, eager to make the world a better place. And they want to make it to school safely. Share the road. Take care when passing. And always leave 3 feet between you and people on bikes. Bikes are legal road vehicles. We're all drivers.
Don't miss the first ever cannabis competition this year as the prize contest moves from Amsterdam to Jamaica. That's right, it's all Jamaican fun now with the Big Cup competition in Negril this November. Get your best travel accommodations now at JamaicaPot.com. Pack your beach bong and swimsuit and party down at the warm sandy beaches of Negril, Jamaica for the first ever big cannabis event this year. Do it in style or come have fun on a budget. Best travel prices now at JamaicaPot.com. That's JamaicaPot.com.
What's up with these things, Victor?
We decided to give ourselves stickers for each feature we release.
We read about 10,000 suggestions a week to create features that, as traders, we'd want to use.
10,000 suggestions? Who reads all of those?
He does.
For all the confidence you need, TD Ameritrade, you got this.
It's the Full Melt Radio Show.
Radio show.
You know, it's really easy to find us on iTunes and hook up with a daily punch from this program. A daily punch, I tell you. It's good. Cut it! And what we want to do is get into this business about Ohio. But I got to tell you, all you got to do is click on that iTunes link right there on the fullmelt.com's front page. Click and subscribe. That's all. It's really simple. I'll tell you what. If there was ever a chance that I could have made a prediction that there was going to be a lawsuit over Toledo's Decrim position, it would be this one. I mean, it would be now. I made that prediction, I believe, before they even passed this ordinance, because I knew it was going to pass. There's no way this blue-collar community in, way northeastern Ohio was not going to pass this. It was just not going to not happen given the conditions. I had full faith and confidence in this petition drive passing. That being said, and I think there's a third barrel, by the way, to that shotgun blast I told you about. There's a triple barrel shotgun blast. Let's get into this thing about the governor, Mike DeWine. Because Governor DeWine today decided that it would be best to file suit against the city of Toledo. Reuters reporting the state of Ohio sued the city of Toledo today to overturn parts of its new marijuana decriminalization law, alleging it will encourage drug cartels to set up distribution operations within the city. I think at the conclusion of this story, I would like to call Kevin Spittler over at the Toledo Hemp Center in downtown Toledo and ask him about his position on this. I have not had the advantage of Facebook or other social media today as I have been, clamoring over this stupid iPhone thing. In fact, I haven't had opportunity to use this phone properly until 2 minutes before we hit air today. That's how quickly we went to air as soon as I could function, let me just tell you. They want to overturn parts of its new decriminalization law, alleging it will encourage drug cartels to set up distribution operations within the city. Okay, can you see already the winds are blowing? I'm sorry I have to interrupt this story, but I just have to point this out. I'm making another prediction. Can't you see the winds blowing towards this time next year? This time next year, the rest of the country has the stage set for major landslide marijuana initiatives being passed. And between now and then, legislatures far and wide are reacting in advance of that landslide. They're passing their own versions of medical and retail cannabis issues. The state of Michigan, in anticipation of MI Legalize pulling off what they're going to pull off, is trying to define dispensaries within the law so that the licensed dispensaries mentioned inside MI Legalize will have that state control over it. This is their way of inserting that control in what they anticipate is going to easily pass. That being said, why aren't they passing it themselves? Well, they either don't agree with it or don't have the guts to do it. That's what it comes down to, because the government in this country, in your state, in your city, in your township, I won't even go down to the township level. I'm going to say in your state and in your big city, and at the federal government level, is no longer controlled by the populace. I'm going to be called a crackpot for saying that, but it's absolutely true. We've grown into a political day and age when the people's words don't matter anymore. We've grown into a political day and age where governmental pushback against the will of its own democratic populace is being thwarted by big, corrupt, special interest money to the core. And it's disgusting. You know why it's disgusting? Because it shames every drop of blood spilt by Americans on foreign shores defending the freedom of this country. Because we're not free. We're not the democratic society. We're not that Statue of Liberty out there inviting the huddled masses to come and enjoy the warm shores of this country. We're not. There's nothing on that Statue of Liberty's tablets that reigns true anymore in this place. So now you got people like the governor of the state of Ohio telling the people of the citizens of Toledo that they can't say what happens in their community. And yes, I understand. I'm not going to stand here and be a hypocrite and say that, in one instance, because I took the state of Michigan to court saying, look, Michigan's local cities can't make ordinances that conflict with state law because they get their permission to be a city. They're organized underneath that state government in the first place. So I'm not going to stand here and play both sides of that fence. I'm just not going to do that. But it is not politically appropriate to tell the citizens of a community how to enforce their laws. It's not. If you don't like what the city of Toledo's doing, then you have to figure out a way to work with them that doesn't involve suing them over their own citizens' initiative. The police are all aligned on this. The government's aligned on this. It's nonsensical. Ohio Attorney General Mike DeWine. I said governor. It's not. It's the Attorney General. I misspoke. I'm sorry. And the Lucas County prosecutor and sheriff filed a lawsuit in Lucas County Common Pleas Court against the sensible marijuana ordinance passed in last month's Toledo municipal election. The ordinance eliminated fine and jail penalties for marijuana-related offenses in Ohio's fourth largest city, according to DeWine. The northeastern Ohio city was the first in the state to enact a local ordinance decriminalizing pot. The lawsuit objects to 4 provisions of the ordinance as described unconstitutionally conflicting with Ohio general laws, including a gag rule which prohibits Toledo police from reporting marijuana crimes to authorities other than the city attorney. It also protests provisions that make felony marijuana possession and trafficking a negligible, quote-unquote, municipal offense, and decriminalizes possession of certain other drugs, including morphine and hydrocodone, according to the city general's office, or the attorney general's office. Now, I don't remember seeing anything in that ordinance about morphine and hydrocodone. I never saw anything in that ordinance about it. I'm going to double-check it, but I think we can confirm first with Kevin Spittler. Absent legal action, quote-unquote, it's not hard to imagine international drug rings making Toledo their regional base of operations, DeWine said. A representative for the city of Toledo was not immediately available for comment, DeWine noting the recent arrests by the Ohio State Patrol of 2 Washington residents in Lucas County. And this is what is ridiculous, because it's absolutely false. You're an attorney. You're the state's attorney, Mr. DeWine. How can you misrepresent what I'm about to say? He noted the Ohio State Highway Patrol arrests in Lucas County of 2 Washington residents with 223 pounds of marijuana. DeWine saying that under Ohio law, they face up to 16 years in prison. However, under the Toledo ordinance, would not serve the prison time. Other cities, and that's just not true. The Ohio Decrim only kicks in up over 200 grams. If I'm not mistaken, I'd like to confirm. I got to go back and read the language. I told you, no show prep time today because of iPhone, but we will find out before this segment ends. About half of the U.S. states allow marijuana for medical use. It's legal for recreational use in Colorado, Washington State, and Washington, D.C., of course. I tell you, if I'm going to be very interested to find out how this court action plays out, because I have a feeling this is the very beginning of a great number of legal challenges in court over pot in Ohio. We've made Swiss cheese in this state of the legislature's paper on this subject. I mean, the ticker tape parade is being made, all that confetti falling is all the legal paperwork and drama over the last 7 years in this state of Michigan. This is just beginning in Ohio. They haven't even had a chance to shred that first set of documents yet. They just got filed. The very first set. This is nearly a moot point in Michigan 8 years into this process. Speaking of next year's election. It'll be 8 years next election cycle that we voted this into law. 8 and 8, 16. We put it in 2008. 2016 is when we're going to end up legalizing. That's what's going to happen. I predict that is going to work as well. They're going to get just enough signatures in. The MI-legalized people are. There's going to be additional pressure over the coming 12 months in the Michigan legislature to address these finer points about what might happen, what's going to happen when MI legalizes is successful with this campaign. There will be additional attempts to maybe write their own recreational cannabis law and put that into effect, hoping that that's good enough for people and maybe they won't vote for the new initiative that comes on the ballot in a year from now. A year and a month from now. I mean, this is when the vote will be happening. This time next year, right now. A month from now. A month from now, next year, we'll be voting on this. In this state, anyway. And in many other states. I think it's ridiculous. It's not surprising to me that this happened in any way. I lived with these people. I've interviewed Mike DeWine before. When he was a state senator. I believe he was in the House before that. I believe he was involved with the governor's office previous to that. Mike DeWine's been around for a while. I remember talking to him in 95, 96, 97, somewhere in that neighborhood. I probably talked to him all 3 years if I go back and check notes. You know, Ohio is, Cleveland specifically, is, I suppose, my second family town. It's my would-be home city. If I was to pick a home city, it would have been Cleveland. Now, I don't know. Having been to Chicago, I might pick Chicago, and I've never been to New York or L.A. Might pick those. I've never been to Houston. Never been to a lot of places. I've been to a lot of places, but there's a lot of other places I haven't been. Maybe that would change. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, depending on how things go in Ohio over the next year would depend on whether or not I would want to go there and visit that state recreationally in the future because I'm so wrapped up in the cannabis issue now. If I've got a little bit of cannabis on me, especially if I got it in my trunk, I have a little wax with me, some paraphernalia, I don't want to encounter these punks in the Ohio, no more than I want to encounter the punks in the police department here in Michigan over this issue. In Michigan, at least I know I've got some protection with my card for the time being. I know how to act within the bounds where you can't get past my safety shield, Mr. Badge and Gun. Try as you might, you're screwed. And you've learned not to screw with me because I'm a porcupine. I know my boundaries, and if you start messing with me, you're going to get some pokey spines in you. I didn't believe that at first. Oh, he's just a soft. He's not really a porcupine. What is that other thing? What is that thing that curls up in your hand? A hedgehog. He's just a hedgehog. He looks like a porcupine, but he's just a cuddly hedgehog. No, you're wrong. I shot some quills at you. So they don't mess with me anymore. They know that I'm kind of harmless. I'm not really damaging anybody or hurting anybody. I'm over there in the corner doing my own cannabis thing. They leave me alone now because I sued their asses. That's why. And that's exactly what I would be doing if I would be taking this issue on if I was a resident of the city of Toledo and there was some faux pas in this hearing about the state suing now this is the same thing as Bill Schuette suing this law in Michigan. This is Mike DeWine suing this. He's doing the same thing. the Attorney General is supposed to stand up for the people of the state, not tell people of the state you can't have this or you can't do that. Where's your backing, Mr. DeWine? Where's your spine? Grow a nut, sir. I'm serious about that. Grow a pear already. Not a little dinky pear, grow a pear. Stand there and tell the people of the city of Toledo that they can't have their Decrim ordinance. They didn't say it was legal, sir. They just said they can't. They're not going to let you put them in jail or take their money anymore. That's what they said. You can't fine them. You can't jail them. Suck it. There's more of this to come. You might not like this initial taste in your mouth, but you had better get used to it because you're going to be gargling this taste. Come a year from now. Whew. Oh, see, this is what happens when you get me pent up without being on the show. I come out rooting and a tooting, a flaring and a blazing, a guns a shooting. What else is going on? There's so we had three. Was there a third? Did I give you the third barrel yet? I don't think I did. Is there a third story? It seems that there was. Well, yeah. Wasn't going to give you that one. Yeah. See, this is why I do an extensive show prep before I come on. So I told you about the Ohio cop or Ohio man calling the cops because he got too stoned. Told you about Ohio suing Toledo over the Decrim ordinance. There's a woman in Mansfield, Ohio. Now, this is Mansfield. This is Cleveland way. It's suburban Cleveland. And Mansfield has a lady that a year ago, 2 years ago now, almost 2 years ago, was caught by cops growing some weed on her porch. She had several pots on her porch that had cannabis plants in them. And then they got a search warrant for a house, and he said that neighbors were complaining about drug activity, yada, yada, yada. So she was busted basically cultivating, growing, smoking, supplying, whatever, marijuana. Today, if I'm not mistaken, this story was only reported some short 6 hours ago. She didn't get jail time. I don't know if she got fined or not, but she ended up getting probation. I can't think of anybody in Michigan that might get probation for growing pot unless they had some kind of medical circumstance that was weighed in and factoring on whether or not, or they pled guilty. Might be that too.
You're getting the full melt.
Get ready, let's go. Hey now, na na na. Oh, hey now, let's go. Yeah, I've got style. I'll make it wild. I'll change it up and switch it up so versatile. I'll be myself and I'm gonna let everybody know.
We have the latest styles to mix it and mash it. So make it your own and bend the trend. JCPenney. When it fits, you feel it. During the JCPenney Back to School Hot Sale, get an extra $10 off when you spend $25 or more with coupon. Nike, Converse, Levi's, and other exclusions apply.
What's up with these things, Victor?
We decided to give ourselves stickers for each feature we release.
We read about 10,000 suggestions a week to create features that, as traders, we'd want to use.
10,000 suggestions? Who reads all of those?
He does.
For all the confidence you need, TD Ameritrade. You got this.
Don't miss the first ever cannabis competition this year as the prize contest moved from Amsterdam to Jamaica. That's right, it's all Jamaican fun now with the Big Cup competition in Negril this November. Get your best travel accommodations now at JamaicaPot.com. Pack your beach bong and swimsuit and party down at the warm sandy beaches of Negril, Jamaica for the first ever big cannabis event this year. Do it in style or come have fun on a budget. Best travel prices now at JamaicaPot.com. That's JamaicaPot.com.
If you're like us, your pets aren't just animals. They're members of your family. Pet Pain CBD hemp oil drops are great for aging as well as active dogs and cats. Some people are apprehensive about hemp treatments for pets. They ask us, what are you smoking? Absolutely nothing, and neither will your pet. Like other hemp-based products for humans, the allure is all of the benefits of cannabis without any of the high. The CBD oil has shown to rejuvenate the bones, joints, brain, stomach, eyes, and heart. And the drops contain absolutely no corn, wheat, soy, artificial colors, and flavors. or preservatives. Pick some up today. Visit petpain.com or ask for Pet Pain at your local pet store. Petpain.com. CBD relief for your pet.
We ask people to tell us something that happened in their past and something that might happen in their future. The good things were put on yellow magnets and the bad ones on blue. The results show the past was a pretty even mix of good and bad, yet the future was almost all good things. Now that you've seen the results of this experiment, what does it mean to you?
We all want to think about positive stuff.
Realistically, there will be downtimes.
It's great to think optimistically, but let's plan for whatever the future might bring.
Prudential, bring your challenges.
It's the Full Melt Radio Show.
I wish I found some better sounds no one's ever heard.
All right, so I told you earlier when I was talking about this Ohio Decrim thing that I wanted to call Kevin Spittler out at the Toledo Hemp Center and get his reaction to this. I also wanted to find out what the exact language of the Sensible Toledo Ordinance was, because I find it absolutely atrocious that this story is already being misrepresented by the Attorney General of the state, Mike DeWine. Welcome to the program, Kevin Spittler.
Hey, thanks for having me, Steve. How are you doing this evening?
Doing awesome. Boy, I got something's turned up. There's something weird. I don't know. When I talk, it sounds weird now. I don't know. I don't have the other phones on. We're transitioning phones away from AT&T and to a voice-over IP technology, which is supposed to begin later this week. But I sound weird on the phone while I'm talking to you. It's just strange.
So it's the norms. It'll be all right.
So I'm trying to look up the language. I'm going to pot you down while I'm talking because that's just horrible. Oh, I know. I might have turned it up for somebody the other day when I didn't have any other guests on. I don't know. I know. It might be this. Maybe if I do that. Is this better? Oh, no, it's not. I don't know. There's something weird going on there. I don't know. I'm talking to you on the loaner iPhone that Verizon gave to me today and making me wait now for a phone that I should have had weeks ago or about a week or two ago. Anyways, that's why it sounds strange. But I'm just going to pot you down when I'm talking. It'll sound a lot better. So I'm trying to look up the language of the ordinance, and I'm not seeing it. There has to be language of the ordinance here.
I think you can find it on ballot Wikipedia. However, I'm not sure how that's worded.
Right. I'm just going to look up in another spot while you're talking. Go ahead and tell me what you have to say. What's your reaction to the suit?
Well, it's interesting that, number one, they did adhere to the misdemeanor portion of it, which obviously 200 grams or less, there will be no fine, no time. But from what they're trying to do now is they're trying to tackle the felony portion of that initiative, which again was aimed at lowering any possession of felony down to no fine, no time as well. So they're actually filing a lawsuit against the city of Toledo. And interestingly enough, the judge that is getting pulled for that suit, Judge Mandras, he recently ruled in favor of Toledo against the state for the red light cameras. I'm not sure if you know much about that, but the state of Ohio was saying it's unconstitutional or something like that. But the city of Toledo said we're using them. He ruled it on basing on the Home Rule Act.
So he's saying the Home Rule Act in Ohio does not allow you to do this.
The judge said that Toledo is allowed to use the Home Rule Act in accordance to the red light cameras. They can do what they can implement their own laws and so forth like that, or whatever you want to call it.
The judge said this, the local judge?
Yeah.
Now,
for this lawsuit is the same judge.
So it seems like the judge has been favorable in the past to this issue, is what you're saying.
Right. So even the guys that wrote the initiative, they're not even understanding where the pharmaceutical part comes in. He said it doesn't. It just pulled MJ from one section that makes prescription drugs illegal, kept those drugs illegal, saying this before. But I'd have to really sit down with a magnifying glass and really look at it.
Well, here's what I see, Kevin. Here's what I see. According to ballotpedia.org. Now, it's not giving me the actual language because the actual language, as you know, has to incorporate all kinds of other boring and non-essential material from the actual city charter itself.
because it has to change things within the ordinance or within the charter, right? Doesn't it change the city charter?
Right. It just changed the level of penalty to the crime.
Right, but what I'm saying is that the actual ordinance itself changes the city charter so that this new language is included.
Right.
And so in that effort, it references all other kinds of language within the city charter in the actual language, because I've seen it before, but I didn't notice anything outside of marijuana in reading through it. So
right.
I wanted to go through the issue as it's described by Ballotpedia. Issue 1, decriminalize marijuana by decreasing the penalties of marijuana use to the absolute minimum while keeping the substance technically illegal in order to comply with state law. Number 1, removing all jail time and fines for marijuana violations, preventing driver license suspensions due to marijuana violations, forbidding any marijuana violation from being reported to any professional licensing board or agency, preventing law enforcement agencies from reporting marijuana violations to any authority above the local city attorney, prohibit civil or criminal asset forfeiture as a consequence of any marijuana-related infraction. So it doesn't say anything to me in here about other narcotics or opiates at all, and it doesn't say anything in there. And if I'm not mistaken, Kevin, the cutoff for this initiative. So if you had 210 grams of cannabis, and they could hold you to that figure, and that bore out in court that you had 210 grams, the city of Toledo ordinance wouldn't apply, would it, Kevin?
Right, that's what they're trying to say.
No, that's what I'm saying. If you had a little over 200 grams, that the ordinance wouldn't apply, because the ordinance is capped at 200 grams. It's 200 grams or less.
Well, that's the misdemeanor. Once you go to 201 grams, it's a felony.
Correct, but the ordinance doesn't address anything in the felonious category.
It should address both of them.
Okay, so it does address stuff in the felony category. So it's saying marijuana above 200 grams, I don't get it.
Is a felony 4. All marijuana felonies will be dropped to the lowest possible felony, and all misdemeanors get dropped to the lowest possible misdemeanor. In both cases, which should be effectively no fine, no time.
So lowest possible felony is what?
Felony 4, I believe it is.
And the felony 4 conviction carries no jail time and no fines?
That's from what I understand.
Can they put you still on probation over this?
They can't.
They cannot.
They can't give you any court costs. They can't put you on probation. They can't put you in treatment. They can't suspend your license.
So there are other factions, according to the list that I just gave you from Ballotpedia, that are in addition to that list that they have.
Right.
So we got to dig into this further by actually finding the ballot language. Could you help me accomplish that, Kevin? Can you send me a link to that?
I'm on it right now.
Because I've got to dig into this, because I just blasted Mike DeWine for mischaracterizing this initiative. As I understood it, it just capped marijuana offenses at low-level offenses. It didn't talk about pounds of marijuana or, giant-level grows.
Well, basically what he's saying is it decriminalizes large amounts of marijuana around schools and blah, blah, blah. They're scare tactic. The gentleman, Ted Thompson, that helped basically write the initiative, he even says himself, I don't know the basis, but I disagree. So it's really, they must be really looking in depth to and seeing some kind of gray area that was left open.
Well, the story as it's portrayed in the news today is that DeWine's saying that, hey, major criminal cartels, he's trying to invoke the federal government's assistance in this, if not directly by reference, by saying that major criminal cartels, that would get the DEA's attention right away, Kevin, in saying that major cartels might want to come up and set up in Toledo as a hub of operations because you can't go to jail for your pot here.
Right. I want to move back here.
What's that?
I don't want to move to Toledo.
You don't want to move to Toledo?
I would.
Oh, yeah. Well, you already have, haven't you?
Yeah.
So, all right. So send me the link if you would, because I got to move on this subject. Are you going to do anything in response to this? You just watching the news and standing by?
What's that?
I say, are you going to do anything about this? Are you just standing by and watching the news to see what happens at the court level as a result of this lawsuit?
We're really going to sit down and see what our options are. They are prepared to fight in court to push the initiative forward.
Well, that's a good thing because they've got to have some kind of backing. For maybe the ACLU and stuff will get behind you, it would seem.
Yeah, we actually have a meeting Sunday at 4:20 downtown Toledo at the old Spaghetti Warehouse, and then we'll be discussing that, what we're going to do going forward.
I got to ask you, I used to work at Spaghetti Warehouse in Cleveland. Are they out of business now?
Oh, it's still in business.
Because you got a different places. Did they have an old location, new location? Is that what they did? They moved?
Oh, no, they've been in the same location for a long time.
You just said the old Spaghetti Warehouse like it was closed.
Oh, no, just because it's been there forever.
In fact, there's a guy named Paul there. He's probably still there, if I'm not mistaken. He works in the kitchen. Just when you go to the Spaghetti Warehouse, see if Paul's in there.
We'll do that.
He's a loud, kind of overtly gay man. You can't miss Paul.
Paulie.
Yeah, just say, hey, Paul. If he comes out going, hey, what can I do for you? You know, he's kind of a chubby guy, a real friendly, a little black, little Puerto Rican. I don't know. He's an interesting guy.
I do want to put out there that we are having a victory celebration for issue 1. The No Fire, No Time celebration, victory celebration. That's the 16th of October at the Realm. It's a club here in Toledo, and we have bands, sponsors, vendors, and so forth like that, speakers, and we're just putting on a big celebration. Again, 200 grams of less is decriminalized, and it's a city level.
Yeah, I can't get over the 200 gram mark. I got to figure out I got to look into this language more extensively, and then perhaps apologize for my former bash against DeWine, because he might be on target depending on what that language says. I completely was under the understanding, and may still be under the understanding, that it only dealt with 200 grams and lower. If it deals with 200 grams and above, then I got to look into that and see how that compares to what he said, because, you know, like I said, I might be mistaken there.
Well, he said, hold on one second, it's in section 513.03.
Okay. Hey, so Kevin, I got to run to break. But I hit me up with a text, and I'll check into this and I'll report on it further as detailed by you. Something's got to happen here. I'll talk to you soon, Kevin. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I don't know what happened, but the iPhone just up and shut off on me out of nowhere. And this is the replacement iPhone. Turning it back on and coming back with more next on this live show.
You're getting the full melt.
Young students are our future. They're eager to learn, eager to succeed, eager to make the world a better place. And they want to make it to school safely. Share the road, take care when passing, and always leave 3 feet between you and people on bikes. Bikes are legal road vehicles. We're all drivers.
Imagine a world where patients can use marijuana like any other medicine. The Marijuana Patients Organization challenges the status quo by helping our neighbors to enjoy a better quality of life. Visit the MPO at marijuanapatients.org and enjoy informative articles, engaging debates, and information about treatments, doctors, and dispensaries in your area. Over 50,000 people have registered at marijuanapatients.org since 2010. Join us at the Marijuana Patients Organization today, marijuanapatients.org.
Hey, it's Steve Green for the Sweet Leaf in Flint, because now getting safe access to medical cannabis patients in Flint, Michigan is never more welcoming. Presenting the Sweet Leaf, a brand new patient experience bringing 12 carefully selected caregivers housed in 9 separate offices to distinctly assist you with their knowledge and reputation for excellent patient care. Classes and training coming soon in the large community room. Check it out in person, 400 South Door Highway, or call 810-259-2571. The Sweet Leaf Center in Flint, 810-259-2571.
If you're like us, your pets aren't just animals. They're members of your family. Pet Pain CBD hemp oil drops are great for aging as well as active dogs and cats. Some people are apprehensive about hemp treatments for pets. They ask us, what are you smoking? Absolutely nothing, and neither will your pet. Like other hemp-based products for humans, the allure is all of the benefits of cannabis without any of the high. The CBD oil has shown to rejuvenate the bones, joints, brain, stomach, eyes, and heart. And the drops contain absolutely no corn, wheat, soy, artificial colors and flavors, or preservatives. Pick some up today. Visit petpain.com or ask for Pet Pain at your local pet store. Petpain.com. CBD relief for your pet.
Got something to hide? Canalock offers discreet and effective storage solutions that destroy odor, so nobody knows. Canalock is a patented charcoal-activated bag that discreetly stores your marijuana. Canalock is made from the same material as military chemical warfare suits. Get yours at canalock.com. Visit canalock.com to learn more about no-smell technology.
What's up with these things, Victor?
We decided to give ourselves stickers for each feature we release.
We read about 10,000 suggestions a week to create features that, as traders, we'd want to use.
10,000 suggestions. Who reads all of those?
He does.
For all the confidence you need, TD Ameritrade, you got this.
It's the Full Melt Radio Show.
All right, we plan on being back on at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Thank the folks at petpain.com for sponsoring our phones. And guess what? I found further down in the Ballotpedia thing, I actually got off the iPhone because I found out why it shut off. The battery's dead. It was 100%. This is how bad this phone is. It had 100% battery when the show started some 50 minutes ago. And it died at the end of that segment. So it has a battery life of 50 minutes if you're just talking on the phone or reading from the phone. I got to be married to this for a month. I'm going to repeat myself. Does anybody have a noose? Can I borrow a noose? I'll make do with a necktie. Can somebody have a neck? Okay. The city of Toledo shall adopt the sensible marijuana ordinance, which protects individual citizens' rights and saves taxpayer money by lowering the penalty for marijuana to the lowest penalty allowed by state law. So that's what the ordinance said. Lowest penalty allowed by state law. That's kind of a mandated thing. Isn't this a mandatory minimum thing? I mean, it's a different way of using mandatory minimum, isn't it? It's mandatory that you give them the minimum sentence. That's different than the mandatory minimum I'm aware of. No, you've got to give them a mandatory sentence of minimum of 20 years. This mandatory minimum is a little different, isn't it? In accordance with Article 18, Ohio's. Okay, so local laws can be enacted in multiple ways. Local laws can be directly checked. Okay, This is an ordinance summary. Local ordinance deems marijuana illegal, exactly as it is under state law, but authorizes no fines or jail time for the violation. Still a charge and the court appearance required, but the fine is zero and no jail time given. Total ordinance protects from the suspension of driver's licenses due to drug abuse. Convict is currently required by due to any drug abuse convict currently required by Ohio state law. The local ordinance authorizes no fines or jail time for any marijuana offense, including paraphernalia. The local ordinance prevents any marijuana violation from being reported to professional licensing agencies or any employee that is guilty of a drug abuse conviction as is currently required by Ohio state law. Examples given by ORC include architect, real estate agent, hairdresser, attorney, nurses, etc. So your license can't be sanctioned because you got a pot conviction that you didn't go to jail for or pay a fine for is what it's basically saying. The local ordinance prevents local law enforcement from reporting the violation to above the local city attorney or any other authority. The local ordinance prevents any authority from civil or criminal asset forfeiture. That's all it says. See, that's what I got before. I want to see the actual damn ballot language. There's opposition. Where's the stupid path to the ballot? See also laws governing Ohio. See, it doesn't give me the language. See, the devil's in the details, and it's not giving me the details. It's just giving me the oversight. Enforcement argument should be posted here. Editorials. I don't care about the editorials. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. Yeah, I just am not finding it. Not getting that detail. Why would this be so difficult? I'm just seeing if there's some local recent news, background, path to the ballot, related measures, opposition, editorials, supporters, ordinance summary. See, it just gives you the summary. You know, when you sign the petition, it's got the actual language of the ballot. The actual language of the ordinance itself is on the back of the petition. The summary is on the front. That one statement, I'll read it to you again. This is the summary. City of Toledo, where's it at? To decriminalize, so the question would be posed, do you want to decriminalize marijuana by decreasing the penalties of marijuana use to the absolute minimum while keeping the substance technically illegal in order to comply with state law? I mean, it's going to be basically a version of that. That's not what it actually said. I can tell by the way it's worded, it's not what it actually said. You know, this is frustrating me beyond all posts. I'll tell you that. Ballotpedia should have not only the clear language that was on what the part where it was right above where you checked a box, the little summary of the ordinance, that should be clearly on here. Shame on you, Ballotpedia. Same thing with the actual ordinance itself. Not just a summary, but you should have the actual language in there so people can consume it. Look, just because it's a little legalese, it's not for the average Joe. It's part of the detailing. I mean, Ballotpedia is like a form of Wikipedia. That information should be in there. Why would you hide that? See, now I've got nothing right now. I'm going to find this. I promised you I'd get it before the last break was on. I didn't do that, did I? I'm just going to check in a couple of other places to see if there's any other place that I can actually spot this damn ballot language. Because there's all kinds of stories about it. There's all kinds of opine about it. Doesn't seem to be anything linking you back to the actual language of the law that was passed. And this is another shameful state of affairs, isn't it? I mean, the primary supporters, Kevin being one of them, I just talked to Kevin. He couldn't articulate to me where these references were coming from. Some confusion about the 200-gram barrier. I mean, why would it mention 200 grams at all? I don't know. It seems like there's angles of truth to both DeWine's point of view and sensible Toledo's point of view. And here's why I'm saying that. If you pay real close attention to what they're doing there, where are we at here? We only got a couple minutes left in this show already? Seriously? It just goes by so damn fast. Got like a minute and a half left. Well, I'll tell you what. Since I was unable to locate this by Googling it, and you'd think that Google would have access to this information. I mean, Google's got its ugly web fingers into everything, including where you're at, what you buy, what you like, what you don't like. Google knows everything about you. If you think if you're worried about NSA finding out what you're doing or where you're going or where you're at, all that, if you're worried of those people that's always got a tinfoil hat on, worried about the government might know what you're doing or where you're at or trying to sneak information out about you, I'm honestly a lot less afraid of NSA than I am of Google and Facebook, which I'm sure the NSA has access to, by the way. Here's why. The NSA, nobody's voluntarily walking up to the NSA and saying, here's all my data. Take all my data. Here's all the things that I like. Here's what I'm doing. Here's where I'm at. Nobody voluntarily goes to the NSA and just gives them this information. And then when they find out they may have some of that information, want to know how they got it. How the hell did you know that? And they're all up in arms. We got to write some laws. The NSA is not supposed to be peeking in the affairs of citizens. They're supposed to be peeking in on the affairs of terrorists and foreign enemies, right? I think the NSA is getting all their crap from Google and Facebook, frankly. And wouldn't it be a larger consideration if somebody like, I don't know, the Facebook founder, the Google founder, what if those guys were actually connected back to the Xenom conspiracy theory? I'm going to create a bunch of conspiracy theorists about this. What if they actually work for the NSA or plants for the NSA? The NSA is going to create things like Google and Facebook so they can figure out what you're doing and where you're going because you're just going to voluntarily give it to them. Did you read the license agreement? Did you read the agreement you made when you clicked on the Facebook the app, the mobile app, or the Messenger app, which is even worse? Did you read any of those agreements? Did you opt out of anything that you could opt out of? I'm telling you, they're watching. But at least if they're watching and you're Ohio, you can't get busted for a little bit of weed or a lot of weed, apparently, according to Mike DeWine. The story is not going to end today, but we're going to find the rest of the story coming up in future broadcasts.
The Full Melt Show is a production of TFM Media.